we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the Critical Misses channel. This is our brand new Wander Home campaign, The Wayfarer's Guide to Haeth. I am going to turn it over to our lovely GM, who will tell us a little bit about the game, and we'll just do our real brief character intros.
Amazing. Thank you. Hello. So we're going to be playing a game called Wander Home. It is a game in the Belonging Outside Belonging system. It's written by Jay Dragon. It is a wildly fun design game. It is a gorgeous book, and it is a pastoral fantasy game where you play as animal folk moving through the land of Haeth. A land is sort of built into the book, and it's super sweet and kind, and violence isn't allowed. And so we've created this amazing story over a couple sessions to show you all a little bit about this game and what it can do. And I'm so excited to share it with you. Look how gorgeous it is. It's so pretty. So for introductions, I can start. I'm Paula. I'm going to be the game master, but I also have a character. In this game it's called The Guide. I'm going to be the guide, but I also have a character. My pronouns are she, her, and my characters are two. I'm playing Luna or Lula, the Exile, and she is an ocelot. Anita.
So I'm Anita. I am the runner of the Critical Misses Twitch channel, and I am playing the Firelight, Farley Weeps, who's got a little firefly companion, and they are a tawny owl. He, they pronouns. My pronouns are she, they. But I will drop it down on the overlay below me to Vin.
Well, I'll be golly. Hi, guys. I'm Vin, EvanVoxVA on Twitter, he, they, and I'll be playing Hyacinth, the caretaker, he, they, it.
And going around the circle, Cosmo.
Hi, I'm Cosmo. My pronouns are Faye Femme. I am going to be playing Sia Tolly, the dancer. I am a common green magpie, and I pronouns they, them for Sio, and I'm just freaking excited to be here.
Heck yeah. Last but certainly not least, Danny.
Hey y'all, my name is Danny. You can find me all over the internet at Brutal Dan. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm playing Pudding, the peddler axolotl. And I also have a little pet that we have deemed Poppy. And Poppy is our traveling Hercules beetle.
Very excited.
Amazing. I love this little adventuring party that we made. They are so sweet. So I guess we'll just jump on into it then.
Mm-hmm.
So we begin our story in the late afternoon. The air is warm and dry, and the sun is just becoming low in the sky. The land of Haeth is well into the bright season, so the days are only getting longer and the air is only getting hotter. From afar, the town of Titan's Crossing has a rather unique silhouette. The town itself is built upon a massive bridge spanning Giant King Canyon, with the bridge itself held up by what looks to be a mighty stone titan, frozen in place. Atop the bridge is a large marketplace with stalls and stands filled with antique relics and other oddities. But beneath the bridge is a sacred place, rumored to be the home of many gods, small and forgotten. Intricate shrines hang off the hulking stone titan's form, and wisps of various colors thought to be the forgotten gods themselves move about the space beneath the bridge. But high above this settlement, we see 5 figures riding on the iridescent shell of a large Hercules beetle. 4 of the figures appear to be fast asleep, curled up in a little pile on the back, with one green bird-like creature at the helm. Suddenly, the beetle descends, seemingly of its own accord, and plops itself directly atop a stand at one end of the bridge, just as the stand itself was beginning to set up for the night market, sending various tropical fruits of many sizes squishing all over the cobblestone and jolting awake the sleeping party members.
Ah!
We're here.
What is that? And you see a tabby cat individual coming up to you from behind the stand, that half of which is underneath your beetle.
Oh no.
What? Now, what have you done here?
So, funny story. Oh, I was driving, but not driving. I'll help you.
So you're responsible for this then? And he picks up like a purple to pink sunset colored banana, and like that's partially squished, and just holds it up.
Yes, I am. How can I help fix this?
Okay, we can start by moving the beetle.
What else can we do to fix this? That's a bit of a non-starter.
And he looks to the rest of you just for any indication of
apologies. This isn't quite what I had in mind when we said we were going to land. Where exactly are we?
So this is Titan's Crossing. And we're just getting set up for the night market this evening, or I was. And you can't move your beetle. It was just flying. Can it just fly again?
Yes, but you see, Poppy kind of goes where Poppy wants, and once Poppy decides where Poppy wants to be, that's sort of the end of the conversation.
I think the camera pans over to Pudding, and Pudding's just trying to put a shoulder into Poppy's side and like push as hard as he can, but nothing moves. And Pudding realizes that the tabby cat is very angry holding this mashed banana, and scurries up and grabs it, and it's like, oh, this is a magnificent banana. I've never seen it so flat. A work of art.
So they're not meant to be flat.
So then you're saying it's rare?
Rare.
Limited edition flat bananas.
I would pay a price for that. I'll buy it off you.
Here, I'll help you. Very, very, very sorry for this. Farley Weeps, lovely to meet you. We'll just I'll help you relocate your stall somewhere else. And it won't be any trouble. It doesn't. And that way we can just make sure that we can salvage what we can. I'll right about 3 feet to the left. We can make do. We can make do with what we've got here.
If y'all can move the stand, I'd appreciate it, but it looks like some of it's under this immovable beetle. Can we lift it? Can you lift it?
I have a bit of an idea. So and Ncio like reaches into their like jacket and jingles through a few coins before finding one that they're willing to trade for the banana, and sort of steps back and starts to like wave the banana in front of Poppy's face to try and like get Poppy's attention and like get them to shift a little bit. And
Poppy's tongue comes out and just like grabs the banana, and then you see Poppy's eyes goes blank, and you just hear kind of like this violin noise, and we all know that that's Poppy's snoring.
So I should have mentioned the bananas. They're calming. They have they're sunset bananas. So you eat one before bed. All right, so that's not an option, it seems.
Well,
Sorry.
Farley will sort of hop and flutter off of the back of Poppy and begin to try and like pull portions of the stall out from underneath to help rebuild,
Oh
inconveniencing
no, oh dear, oh no, oh dear.
himself for someone else. So I will take a token for that.
Excellent.
Hyacinth eventually like kind of tiptoes off and tries to help Farley in the same thing, just like pulling pieces very gently, like not to scratch poor Poppy. Not that it would hurt him, but like just splinters of this stall at a time.
Oh, if we can wake Poppy up, I might have a different idea.
Well, this is going better than I expected. Anything's honestly going to be able to help. I just need to be set up by sunset.
Tell you what, we'll help you set up, and we can be night market neighbors tonight.
Oh, do y'all have a stall?
We have Poppy.
That's actually Poppy.
Poppy's your stall. Has this happened to you before? Does Poppy just pick a place in a market and just that has to be where Poppy goes?
Well,
That's
market,
exactly
a
how it
swamp,
works, yes.
Mountainsides, treetops. One time on a lily pad on the water.
That did not go as bad as I expected it to.
Quite
Right.
buoyant, actually.
I'm sorry, did we get your name?
You did not, nor I yours. I'm Badger.
Farley Weeks.
Hey, Badger. Puddin' here.
Harley Weaves. Puddin.
Siotali.
CEO. Okay, and
And Hyacinth, hello.
Hyacinth. And a small ocelot pops out from behind Pudding, who was completely obscured by Pudding previously, and just very quietly, almost inaudible, says, Luna? And Badger goes, oh, there's 5 of you. Okay. Quiet one. All right, so looks like we are neighbors. Not much of an option there. Why don't we scoot the upright half of the stand a little bit away, give y'all some space, and we'll deal with the rest of it later. You will be responsible for damages, understandably, but we still got some workable fruit this evening.
That seems fair. And for what it's worth, I'm glad you're the first person we met here. You seem very nice, especially considering I'm here.
Right. Well, this situation seems unsolvable unless everyone's understanding of the limitations. I feel like Poppy snores again. Little violin sounds. But yeah, we can set up, and there's enough of you that you could probably get your own stand set up in time. I assume you're here for the night market, unless you're going to start up in the morning.
So, no, you go ahead, Farley.
Oh, I was just going to say that we might just have to wait for Farley's gonna sort of go underneath one of Poppy's like just sort of in the spot in between like portions of the shell, and is going to almost like get in there and like tickle slightly so that the wings spread out, so that there's that sort of overhang for the stand that we discussed earlier, and is going to start setting up a little ritual space to illuminate the area around Poppy.
And you see this wing open up, and you kind of see these wares just come down hanging from strings, and it almost the shop almost sets up itself, and Pudding is just like right up into Badger's face, and it's like pretty nifty, huh?
Quite grand. And as this whole thing is being set up, Luna just bursts into action and just starts pulling out wares and the like storage containers, like turning things into a table. Like very rehearsed, just starts setting up all of the like logistical structure portions of this stand. All right. Well, I definitely think you're gonna attract some customers then.
Well,
Do you
hopefully.
want to be our
Speaking
first?
of,
Oh, a lot of people talking at once. What do you sell?
Well, we got our normal, knickknacks and flowers. But what I specialize is dreams.
All right.
And pulls out this like jar filled with sand. It's this one here was, I think, somebody's grandfather. This was his dream on how to make stars appear when you want them to.
So is it like a spell? If you open it, there will be stars? That's quite interesting.
Maybe. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but that's the essence of it.
Interesting. Well, I can take that jar off your hands and we can call this even in terms of damaged goods, and maybe your sparkly beetle will draw customers my way and should work out. May I?
Yeah, Puddin hands it over and looks back at the team, and it's just like 2 thumbs up.
Interesting. All right. I need a strong person to drag my stall away from yours, and we can get set up.
I can assist with that. I can drag things.
I'll help out too.
Oh,
All right.
that's wonderful.
Many hands make light work.
Right. Thank you. And you all get to moving and setting up.
Puddin walks over to Hyacinth and it's like, this is a very interesting area. Have you seen this before?
To my surprise, I haven't. Everything, it's very lively, but that could also be Poppy's charm.
Yeah, they're looking at us. Should we go look at them? Do you want to go explore this a little bit?
Oh, gladly. I have a great feeling about this place.
And I think Pudding and Hyacinth will walk down the beginning of the bridge of Titan's Crossing and just look, and you see market stalls, you see just tables, you see people sitting on the ground, and it's nothing like we've ever seen before. Normally, it's a smaller place where wherever we set up, it's honestly nothing as amazing as this. But we normally don't feel small, and this is a place that we kind of feel normal in the fact that we have a giant beetle setting up a market stall and we fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
And even then,
what were you gonna say?
oh, go ahead. Oh no, go ahead.
I think we want to find like what about this place brings so many people to set up their stalls and set up their wares.
Yeah. As you all are walking, you notice it's essentially just a very wide bridge with either side kind of aisled with stalls and shops, but you can still see the stone handrail and then the canyon beneath. And as the sun is sort of setting more and more and it's getting darker, you see these colored wisps of light just start to like pop up around the sides and then back down, almost like little dolphins coming up and over. They're not that big, they're about fist sized. And you see people taking out various wares. A lot of like old antique pieces are coming out. Like one stall is entirely antique clocks. And the closer you get to the middle, you see like weirder relics of battles long forgotten, maybe pieces from an old abandoned castle. And then the outsides, as you get to the other side, are more wares, and that's where the fruit stand would be. So like sometimes just small things like trail rations, but also like multicolored robes that are like ombre, like black to pink, or some cool designs. A lot of the more useful items are on the outside edges.
I think Pudding would hand Hyacinth a net, and you just see Pudding take a few steps in front of Hyacinth, and he's trying to catch these wisps in the air. But they're still very translucent and transparent, and they seem like they almost get stuck in there, and then they just rush straight past through, and you kind of see the colors dissipate, and they just keep on moving.
Hyacinth like just kind of puts their arm in front of Pudding. It's fine. It's and like they're really excited. Their eyes are like glowing with the different colors of the spirits, and they just might make a notion towards their antlers, which has like different cages and bells and ribbons and all just different accoutrements to house the tiny gods they take care of.
Yeah, what does Hyacinth look like entirely? So we have these antlers. What do you look like?
Oh, let's go. Let's see. 3 to 4 describe your look because we're playing Wander Home. Paint stained pants, a scratchy cloak, loose papers covered in sketches and notes, which are also like kind of jabbed into his antlers and stuffed in his pockets, just everywhere, and a constant rhythmic tapping. And I think that's like his hoof against the ground. I forgot to mention he's a deer. As he looks at all the different spirits and wisps and such floating around the bridge.
And what does Pudding look like?
Yeah, Pudding is a chubby axolotl, but the coloring is almost that of like a cow. So you kind of have these spots, stark white with these big black spots around. And they have overalls on and some very weird glasses. Like it looks like the lenses don't quite match, and it's almost kind of a hodgepodge glasses with a lot of different lenses. And so right in the overalls pocket, you can hear something clacking around, and it's an abacus that kind of clacks around, and they think that they can use that for math. They don't know what math is, but it makes them feel like a proper peddler. And he has this backpack full of just random things, ready to trade, ready to barter anything. But he gets really excited because this is a feeling that he's felt before, these energies flying around, and just looks at Hyacinth, and it's like, maybe we can get your friend a new friend tonight.
I'm not sure if they're ready for new friends, or I'm not ready for the weight of new friends.
Oh, that's fair.
It's getting a little crowded up here. Vacancy is getting really thin.
Well, we should see, because these are gorgeous. And Pudding kind of just like is enamored, even with all the hustle and bustle and things kind of, it almost feels like the marketplace is coming to life as these antique pieces start puffing out smoke and glitter and magic and lights. Pudding is hyper focused on just seeing these spirits going up and over, and it's like, where do you think they're going?
I have no idea, actually. And they kind of teeter towards the edge of the bridge to like look off into the canyon to possibly get an idea of where they're coming from, and kind of follows them like down deeper into the dark. I might have a hunch, not entirely sure.
Do you want to go down
How
there?
are you with heights, Pudding? Oh, you read my mind.
And Pudding is already sitting at the edge, and it's just like looking down, eyes really big, staring at Hyacinth, and it's like, if you're into it.
Oh, I would love to, but maybe we should check on the others first, and we can make it a trip for all of us. I'm pretty sure they would love to see.
I think Pudding's already halfway down the wall, like crawling halfway down the wall. It's like, well, they were setting up and they're busy, and we have to walk all the way back. Are you sure we can't just go down? We can let them know.
I feel like at this point, like Sio would have noticed, like looking over and seeing Hyacinth standing there, and then not seeing Pudding, and seeing like Hyacinth look down, look over, look down again, and Sio turn to Farley and go, I think Pudding just jumped off a bridge.
You see a little grimy paw reach up. It's like, I'm not down there yet, but if we're okay going down without y'all, can y'all handle the market stuff?
I absolutely can. Definitely.
Luna is sitting behind the fully set up stall and just strumming on a little cheap lute, trying to just like look around and bring in customers, but is the posture is someone of like, if a kid is stuck in line at the grocery store and the parent has gone to get something else, like I can't handle this if someone walks up, but I can make the sound to get people to come over. So like looks wildly like, don't leave.
Sio kind of looks between the two of them and is like, I should probably let us know how it goes though.
Oh, we will. Remember, dreams are half off and miracles are buy two, get two. And kind of like puts another slimy hand on Hyacinth's hoof and it's like, come on.
Okay, I'm coming. Bye. And they like lunkily like position themselves with Pudding.
Yeah, and I think it's this like super dramatic scene where everything kind of slows down and it looks like pitch black, and Pudding grabs the hoof and Hyacinth kind of jumps off, and it looks like we fall a very long while, but we just hit the ground. We maybe fallen like 3 or 4 feet, and we look around and it's very dim.
I imagine like, oh
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, imagine the lights as compared to the shadows of the sunset, like drifting in the evening. That the lights are even more spectacular and the gods are even more glittering. Just happy sigh from our caretaker.
Do you think I should maybe go down with them, Siobhan? It does seem very dark down there.
Oh, that's actually a very good point. Maybe you should go. I'll stay here with Lula and try and bring in some customers. And Seal looks at Lula with that face that is clearly the face of, I'm about to dance. Do you want to dance? Knowing that Lula is probably not going to take them up on the offer.
Lula holds the eye contact with you through the offer, and as you're like, it's about to happen, Lula will dart to another part of the stand and just start setting up more things and taking out like a ledger, like, oh, stuff to do, but doesn't say anything and just starts like opening up books and opening boxes and closing boxes.
Farley finishes the small ritual and the entire stand illuminates and spreads a little bit of that light over to the second stand that we had just finished setting up for Badger, all right. Well, I'll be back. Remember, miracles are half off, and dreams are buy two get two.
All right, I've got it. And
was that right, or was it the other way around?
Oh, well, now I'm not sure.
Luna appears between the two of you, ledger in hand, opens it up and just points emphatically at like written down all of the discounts that we have.
I thought I had it, and then Farley confused me, and okay.
Oh,
I'll
Be
take care.
careful down there. Okay.
so Farley begins to sort of trot towards where they had walked off and hopped over, and says, "Come on, Wool." Fawny's a very small, tawny owl. With some very round glasses that in certain illumination it almost looks like it does that anime effect where it shines, and uh, has a mud-soaked teal cloak and some patchwork pants, and sort of tucks this little book that they used to do the illumination, sort of and walks towards this edge of the bridge, and says, "Come on, Wool!" And from out of the hood of the cloak, this firefly begins to sort of swirl and dance around. Uh, 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 well, uh, look out below! And Farley will hop off of the bridge and begin to flutter his wings as they descend downward to meet with their friends. As this sort of firefly circles around and illuminates the path downwards into the darkness.
And the three of you are now at the like a shallow portion of the base of the canyon. It's like an incline that goes, or decline, I suppose, that goes down and then back up as you are in a safer portion to have jumped. But you see, now that you're down here, the stone titan that holds the bridge up, and it's this large, like gargantuan bipedal creature that's just holding like this bridge up, like one hand on one side, one hand on the other, and hanging off of its like stone protrusions and arms and fingers are these little houses, these little like birdhouse style decorations almost. They look like what's on Hyacinth's antlers. And these swirling wisps move around, and like way more than the ones you saw cresting over the bridge. And you also see a slight green glow from one of the deeper portions of this canyon. A small luminescent salamander is just tending to some of the more like in arm's reach shrines down below here.
Pudding will sprint towards that light and is just in awe of these very intense but like muted colors that are just emanating, and is just enthralled of like what is going on, looking up at the titan, and is wondering like, wow, that is a very strong creature, and then looks over at the salamander and just taps the salamander on the shoulder.
Oh, it's almost night. Are you lost?
I wouldn't say lost.
Are you here on purpose?
Looks over at Hyacinth. Are we here on purpose?
I suppose that we are here, therefore we have a purpose. So yes, we are here with a purpose.
Yes, we're here with a purpose.
You seem to not know it. Who are you? And looks at Hyacinth.
Oh, I am Hyacinth. These are my friends, and like, they sort of like tickle one of the little homes to like evoke one of the gods that sleeps in there, and I think they end up summoning Ravel, a god of tangled yarn, and it's just like this bright red orb just kind of flickers out.
Oh, well, that's just neat. And just like reaches a hand out to it, and it kind of comes to rest on the hand. And you carry these with you.
Yes, these are friends I've made along the way. It's been A journey, if one would like to call it that. It keeps things simple.
And you notice that like the hand that this salamander is holding the little creature in is glowing brighter than the rest of her. And she sort of just sends it back to you. And the glow dissipates. So are you coming here to meet the gods below or just to look around?
Pudding looks over at Farley and it's like, the gods below. The gods below. Can you?
Amazing. That is incredible. Well, we were mostly just curious. We saw the wisps. I think my friends saw the wisps coming up over the bridge and decided that they would like to investigate. But
Investigate, explore, those.
they do get curious, and they do let their curiosity get the best of them on occasion.
And you're not curious?
Oh, well, I'm always around to help illuminate the path and to help take in the small moments of beauty or or the larger scenes. And this is absolutely incredible, and I've never quite experienced anything quite like this.
Well, it's quite grand and you seem quite nervous. It's fine and safe down here. It's just not many come down.
Um,
All right.
are there?
The sun is just now starting to set and it's getting a little bit dark down here.
Wool will begin to sort of glow a little brighter, and at that point, there is another wisp that's not wool that follows Farley, as Farley does a very small prayer, and another small forgotten god, this one many-faced, begins to illuminate the area even brighter. Which makes it so that anything that's very hard to see is visible now.
And who is that? And like gestures at Wool.
Oh, this is my companion, Wool. Wool is my firefly.
A firefly.
Yes.
Interesting.
Though it's complicated.
It seems complicated.
Uh,
Very sweet firefly.
And Farley gives Wool almost like this little scritch, and it begins to take off. And what is your name, friend? I don't think we ever caught it.
You did not. I am Edna, the caretaker priest below Titan's Crossing.
Farley weeps, and these are my compatriots.
What are your names?
Hyacinth. Hello.
The camera pans down to Pudding sitting on the ground, and you see him kind of dumping out some of this dust here, and then taking some clippings of grass and putting that back into the jar. And now this jar kind of has this green glow to it. And Pudding looks up with this jar, and it's like, "My name's Pudding, and you've done an amazing job with this place."
Thank you. I've put a lot of care into it. Have you been here before? Any of you? You seem not to have, but I thought I'd ask.
I haven't personally.
Then this will be quite fun to show you. And the wisps are like moving a little bit faster now as the sun is setting. And a pink one comes over and just lands in Edna's open palm. And she sort of moves it around a little bit, and like a brighter glow comes from the hand again. And just as the sun sort of starts to get to the point that's like golden hour, she tosses the wisp up, this little like mote of light, and it expands out, and you see a flamingo creature, still completely pink, that is like partially see-through, still glowing and not touching the ground, just sort of floating around. You start to see other motes sort of, as they bonk into surfaces, just pop out as these floating animal creatures of the color that they were previous.
Edna, is that the god of flamboyance?
You know her.
Well, I've only read about it and heard things, but this is absolutely amazing.
It's quite a show down here in the evenings. I'm surprised more people don't come down. I think there's fear of folklore that no one should believe. So I'm glad you made it down. What have you done here? And points at your jar pudding, the glowing jar.
And Pudding waves over, and it's like, I've left this dust that we found on top of a mountain as an offering to connect us, and I've taken some of the grass clippings of this vibrant green. I've never seen this shade of green before, and I would like to ask you if you could give it maybe whisper a dream to it, and I'll bottle it up, and I think I can tell the world about this.
Interesting. Is that what you do then?
More or less. I also have flowers and pearls, if that's your type of thing, but a lot of people don't believe me when I try to sell dreams.
While Pudding is discussing this and like explaining like the dreams and everything, and is like showing the jar and talking about it, there's a very tiny chittering as like a teal wisp comes through, and just as it passes into where like the light's coming down over the bridge, it starts to like materialize in the same way and circles up and around Pudding's leg, and it's sort of like a ferret creature that's just chirping, chittering, very curious, and goes up around Pudding's midsection, down around his arm, and like peeks like its face into the jar before looking back at Pudding.
You seem to have made a friend.
I feel like I have just a weird connection with this place. You asked before if I've been here before, but I can't rightly say yes. But now I'm beginning to think there might be a chance.
You think you may have forgotten that you've been here before? That's interesting.
Another wisp, an orangey red, comes in sort of, this one is much slower, much more graceful and sort of intentional, and just alights on Hyacinth's antlers near one of the little homes of one of the little forgotten gods, like just sort of slow moving and careful, and materializes into like a sparrow that is still that orangey red, just sort of peeking, maybe poking at it just a tiny bit, like trying to get a sense of what's there.
It is so still, like a butterfly or a piece of like glass, just something fragile. Just let it do what it wants to. Haeth is completely fine. It just wants everyone to get along. It's okay.
It kind of can tell like how anxious Hyacinth is. So it hops down like rows of antlers and down to Hyacinth's shoulder and burrows itself like right in the crook of his neck, as trying to like comfort. And it seems like these little spirits, these little forgotten gods are trying to comfort and like welcome almost.
And Pudding looks over at Hyacinth and is like, Hyacinth, that's just the god of curiosity.
I am equal parts blessed and touched.
These gods don't often take to newcomers, and they certainly aren't this social normally, so you must be a lovely group of people. You're welcome down here anytime you like, but if you are here to peruse the night market, it should be starting shortly.
Do you want to come up with us?
I don't come up, but I appreciate the offer.
And Pudding leans in a little bit closer with a disconcerting look, and it's like, is there a reason that you don't come up?
No. And just turns around and starts walking into further into the canyon.
There's one last little one that comes to investigate, and this one to Farley. This one is like a very, very light lavender sort of color, and doesn't seem to like leave the ground. It's down at the bottom. You almost don't notice it until you feel the slightest tug on your cloak as you look down, and there's just a little, very small, like baby goat.
Farley will bend down and very gently give it a little scritch on the head. Hello, friend. And Farley will pull out a small spool of thread and begin to sort of knot it, and so that it looks almost like a sheaf of wheat, and will give it to the small goat.
The goat seems, for like the slightest moment, like is assessing, and looks at you with the look of like, are you, what is this? And then takes it and just one moment of chew, and then just really excited goat chewing.
So that offering, I'm going to take a token. And I think, do we still have things to do down here, or should we head back up to the market?
I would love to stay down here, but I think we should head back up. But something feels nice down here.
It does, doesn't it? It's comforting.
It's comforting, it's curious, it's... I don't know. And I think the three of them just work back up the incline.
Watch your step.
As Pudding trips over something and just takes this moment as they're on the ground to just look up one more time, and looks up at the Titan holding up this bridge. And that in that moment they don't know what to feel about the Titan. It has a different energy than the rest of the gods that have interacted with them, and looks down and sees the fading green light of Edna as Edna works back into the valley. And I think the three of them kind of climb up over the edge, and the night market kind of mimics the same colors that we saw, but it's come to life.
Yeah, there's many different lanterns of different colors, and there's movement. You can hear anything from people trying to sell their wares in the center. The antiques and relics, and you also hear people arguing over currencies and just different methods of paying. You hear someone just shouting, you stole something, no I didn't, and just like it becoming a thing, but there's no actual fighting, just playful argument, shall we say. And as you approach the poppy stand, you see Co dancing and moving about and handing out flyers and talking about the various things to offer, both for poppy stand and for the fruit stand. The fruit stand is getting tons of customers, and Badger looks delighted and overwhelmed. And speaking of overwhelmed, the Luna is taking currency, writing things down furiously in a notebook, eyes wide, like trying to talk to 4 people at once, holding jars in one hand and like a feather pen in the other. And that's the scene you return to.
And Pudding looks over at Farley and it's just like, I don't know what you do, but every single time I look at our market stand, it blows my mind.
I'm quite proud of my work, and I think as part of the ritual of it almost attracted a few of the smaller wisps that begin to drift down and take form. Some of the larger ones actually stand about the same height as Farley or Pudding. There is a rabbit folk that stands and looks over at Co and good evening, and begins to walk out towards the market. A few of them speak and begin to offer things to the other folks around the market square. And but it's almost like they find a point of egress at attracted by the magic that Farley has woven to create this sort of lantern space around Poppy.
As the rest of them come back up, Co like excitedly is like, "Oh, good, you're back!" and foists the flyers at Farley. Immediately goes into the wicker basket that they carry around with them and dons a red velvet like jacket dress and pulls out, like rummages through a minute, pulls out 2 like fans that have wicks at the end, and it's like, okay, now I do my thing, and lights them all and starts to do a dance with the fire. And when they light the fans, you really get a good view of how brilliant their feathers are, like greens and blues, and as they spread out their arms, their wings, like vibrant red underneath. And the light dances off of the gold jewelry, and they sort of tap their feet with the wrapped bandages and their gleam in the eye and start to do a dance that just really sparks that hope and inspiration, and is sort of dancing a little bit out further, as though like courting people to come in, and starts to just progressively more intricate and interesting tricks with the fans, even tossing them up at one point, spinning around, and just clearly having the time of their life.
There's at this point also a small duck child runs up and begins to start dancing alongside Co, and is just very inspired by Co's dancing and begins to try and join in, but it doesn't quite get the steps right. Has like those like little awkward duckling feet that don't quite but they're doing their best, and they're just absolutely vibing with the magic that Co is weaving at the moment.
Co actually slows down the dance for a moment for the little duck child and sort of like slides their feet underneath the duck child's feet to do like how you do with a little kid, dancing on your feet, and sort of like moves them like with them, and shakes the fans so they go out and sets them aside so that they can do a different dance with this little duck child. And it is a dance with friends to celebrate life and all it gives us, and asks the little duck, like quietly while doing the dance, "Do you want to be my friend?"
Yeah. You're very pretty. When I grow up, will I be pretty like you?
Oh, you will. I know it. And you already are pretty. And Duckchild gets a token for this also.
The duck child is very excited and just dances alongside Sio. I'm I've never actually seen anyone dance like this before.
Well, I'm happy to be the first then. I can teach you some dances if you'd like. And I have a special instrument I can teach you how to play. And pulls out it's an ocarina made from a seashell, and holds it up and starts to play a couple notes, but like slowly so that like the little duck child can see, and hands it and goes, I was given this by someone that you remind me very much of, a very imaginative child.
And the little duck, I'm Aegis. What's your name?
My name's Siobhan, but you can call me Sio.
Okay, Sio. And they begin to, like, very off-key play this ocarina and dance alongside you.
This is the best ever.
This is a sweet game.
The duck child is blessed, Anne.
Pudding and Hyacinth, as you reapproach this poppy stand with this scene going on with Sio dancing, and Farley as well, and you see Lula just scrambling.
Ooh.
What are you doing?
It is Hyacinth to the rescue. They are not the best when it comes to like handling customers and grabbing supplies because it's a little hard to be organized and alert, and that's what shopkeeping is. But they really care about Luna, and like any aid they can give her, that's what they're up to.
The second you step behind the table that's set up under the wing awning, Luna just takes a few steps back and just collapses, like leaning against Poppy, just like clearly just exhausted, mostly mentally, because she had to talk to a lot of new people. And I'm gonna take a token for pause for a moment and get some rest. And she just curls up into a little like fluffy ball. Luna is actually an ocelot, very small, with white and black stripes, and for the description, has intricate tattoos, like sort of a black ink kind of on the white stripes that are like these little symbols that are almost impossible to see, that like some of the stripes are entirely tattoos of these symbols. So there's very intricate, like the longer you look, the more you see, and has a big black cloak that covers most of her as she's sleeping, that has like this little black lace at the end. And she has a slight scar down her side that is pretty visible but hides under the cloak. And you just see like a lump of fur and cloak sort of curled up against Poppy.
Yeah, I think as the team's walking up and seeing all this chaos, but also seeing Sio dance, Pudding sees this moment of mentorship and beauty, and would see the fans with the candles at the end of it, and sees kind of like the wax just kind of, as they're dancing, just kind of magically drip down to the ground. And Pudding will take both hands and take that sandy mix of bright red and orange wax and put it into a jar and just whispers into it youth and beauty, and then closes the jar and shakes it up a little bit and brings it back to the stall.
And while that's happening, Sio sort of ends a dance with the little duck child, and like leans down a little bit to make sure that like they're same level, and goes, I have something for you. Goes into the wicker basket and pulls out like a silk scarf that is like the same sort of bright green that most of Sio's feathers are, and actually pulls out a couple of wing feathers and winces a little bit and ties them onto the end to make a little like fan, and pulls off one of the gold necklaces that they have, like puts the necklace on the little duck child and then wraps the silk scarf around like loosely and like puffs it up at the bottom there. Goes, there. And I hope that you treasure this as much as this memory, and I hope you never stop dancing. You're good at it.
You think so?
And, oh yes, I know a good dancer when I see one. You're going to be great. And I will take a token for giving away something I hold dear.
And Aegis, the little duckling, says, I'm gonna go tell all my siblings, and begins to pitter-patter off with like little duck feet towards a larger group of ducklings that all look similar, but Aegis is now dressed very differently from the rest of their siblings, and their mother sort of gathers up all these little ducklings and walks them down back towards the other end of the bridge.
And as the family of probably around 7 or so ducklings march off to the other side of Titan's Crossing, and my heart melts into just, I love the ducks so much. We are going to take a quick break.
Okay, everybody. We are going to be back in about 10 minutes. Everybody just go stretch, do bios, do whatever you need to do. We will be right back. Welcome, mortals, to Morning Ritual.
Welcome to Upon These Crystals is
playing Beyond the Twilight Road.
And welcome to Forest and Flame on the Critical Misses channel.
Welcome to another episode of Kingsguard,
A 6-part miniseries titled The Growing of the Dim.
I would like to cast Witch Bolt on her.
Yeah, can I make 6 attacks against her?
It's a thing.
I do believe some people wanted to do some goblin blood shots.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we did want to do that.
It looks like your plan is half-baked.
In between one of the quacks, I'll just get like really loud and just say, "Run."
Incoming transmission.
This is the USS Solstice Starfleet. Pete, this is the USS Solstice. Priority 1. I and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Tiltix. We have found the USS Riley that has been reported missing, the wormhole anomaly, and the source of the reality shifts. Captain Harrow is hostile and is going against the Prime Directive. This is a warning to the rest of Starfleet. We are doing everything in our... I'm hoping this message is not too late. If it is, I'm sorry.
That was not a smooth transition, but hey, we're live. That's the mood today. That is the mood today.
Sometimes you need a girl. I got my click clack bag. God damn it, Noir.
Thank you all for having me, and I'm glad I was on before Bria because there's no way to follow her, so it's good.
Garlic smells and tastes like ass. Well, you show me an ass that tastes like garlic, and I'm gonna find myself a new partner.
Summer of Abria.
You could make someone cry over like Romeo and Juliet, or I could make them cry with a story about a werewolf giving a blowjob. And if I could do that, that's a trick to pull off.
Today, your PSA is that when you watch streamers, content creators, YouTubers, influencers, you do not actually know them. You may know their name, you may know facts about them, you do not know them. This is your PSA to not be over familiar. Thank you and have a good day.
And that's kind of why, I'm trying to be as unapologetic as possible, is because I'm trying to be the person that I needed back when I was growing up.
I'm starting Game Gate. Game Gate. Game Gate starts here, and it's that Gabe is an actual fey creature, and they're just messing with us. A new IP comes out that's perfect for you, right? But in order for this to exist, we have to get rid of another IP, and whichever IP you replace it with, that's how big it gets.
Star Wars. Bye.
I'll tell you one motherfucking thing. If you're in Australia, go fuck yourself. Australia. Yeah, that's right. I'm picking a fight with the entire goddamn continent of Australia.
So,
go fuck yourself.
Tune in for October 24th, our show where we have Wasabate, who is in fact Australian, and has promised us one authentic good day.
You know what? If your name is Liam O'Brien, go fuck yourself too. It's hands for you on site, Caleb.
Damn.
So what do you want to do about it? Do you want to play this game with me? Or do you want to forfeit? I don't really think you can keep up with me, but I'd love to see you try. Darling.
Hey, Brooke-Anita! My co-host has been murdered.
You just gotta lie a lot and have one solid apology at the end, and that is the secret to Young Justice working every time.
I feel like that is a Thieves Guild's mantra. Lie longer, lie better. Papa John's.
Anita quite literally said, Noir knows him. And I was like, co-signed. All right, welcome aboard. I was like, that is enough for me. Noir knows and likes this person.
Well, we can always make a Respect Women Juice flask, so you can have it wherever you go.
I'm already working on putting it on a mug.
Excellent. Next, you need shot glasses. Mm-hmm. Just take a quick shot of Respect Women Juice. Yeah.
Huh? Where am I?
We're going into the that guy segment. Did you just black out for a little bit?
I was so busy fighting that everything just went red for a second.
You cannot do what I do, like at all. But I can't do what you do. And no one can tell your story. No one can sing your song but you.
I always realized Critical Misses. It's just it's a femme-focused channel, and the critical, okay, haha. And then I was like, wait a second. When you roll a 1, that's a critical miss.
Did you just get the pun?
Yes,
just get the
pun. I just got the pun.
welcome back. And we are back with the second half of Wayfarer's Guide to Haeth. Without any further ado, Paula, take it away.
So we rejoin our group as the night market comes to a close. It is late into the evening. The sun hasn't risen yet, but it is a tired and warm night as people are putting away their stands. Badger's stand at this point is almost fully taken down for the night, but he was profusely thankful as he sold almost everything in his stand with the help of Co and others gathering people to come in and purchase the exotic fruits. And we see this little ragtag group of animal folk sitting around under the open wing of Poppy. Luna has the big book open and is just writing down with various slips of paper and copying them all into the book and then looking in a box and then writing a number down. What are the rest of you up to?
I think before we say goodbye to Badger, Pudding will come up and he has this like little square box and he's kind of picked up like scraps of like fruits and peels that they were selling, and asks Badger to whisper a wish or a dream into this jar.
He seems a little skeptical at first, but he sort of takes it and, like, eyeing you, moves behind the stall, so he's sort of separated for a moment, murmurs something in, and then hands it back.
Thank you so much. This is literally priceless.
Well, your help has been priceless in its own right.
And Pudding walks up to the scene of everybody kind of gathering back together, and plops down right next to Hyacinth and just kind of nudges Hyacinth with the elbow. Wow. What a day.
Yes, day. Night.
Night, day. What's time?
Fantastic. What is time? And like they're just sprawled out. Eyes closed, but still talking.
Theo like leans against Pudding a little bit, and like Theo normally is just very like energetic and very go, very constant movement. So it's kind of rare to see Theo just actually stop and rest and they just kind of make these tiny chirping noises while also repeating like, what is time? Like, what is time? What is time? What is time? At like in gradually decreasing volume of like relaxing into things.
What's Farley up to?
Farley is sitting with Wool on their lap and is just petting the firefly. And I learned some things while we were up and about in the market. Did you know the caretaker below? They don't often come up and talk to people.
That's right.
If at all.
You went down there, didn't you?
We did. Yes. But I've been also, as everybody's been working, I've been gathering a little bit more information. Apparently, they take care of the gods below.
There are gods below.
Yes.
I feel like I need to hear about your day.
There's a number of them, apparently. And Farley, I'm spending a token right now to know something important about the place that we're in and tell the table about it. The thing that's important is that, so the gods below, the rumor is that they sleep for a good while, because the Titan that is here that holds up the bridge made a promise to always hold up this bridge because it destroyed the valley and caused this massive fissure in the earth. So as penance, the Titan holds up the bridge so that people may cross between here to there. And if the Titan decides to go back on the promise, then the sleeping gods will wake. And if the sleeping gods, in the sleeping gods' slumber, the caretaker it makes sure that their shrines are updated. They don't speak often, but this is what the others aboard the bridge, the people that come here every night, happen to know about this place. It must be a terribly arduous job, don't you think? To do all by themselves?
That must be quite a mighty creature to be able to hold. And like Seal looks down at the bridge underneath all of us and sort of starts to examine like what the bridge is made of, and like notices that a lot of the stones that are part of it actually have, like, they looked like they were just sort of marbling of just stones in general, but they start to look like they have a bit of a pattern. And Seal looks at Luna for a moment, examining the tattoos, and then looks down at the stones again and goes, huh, that's interesting. So this Titan, did it seem like it might actually do that, or does it seem pretty content here? I'm a little worried about the integrity of our current situation. How long has this been?
Well, so far as I'm aware, it doesn't. The Giant King moves on occasion, but it's just a slight rumble from what I've been told. And at that point, the bridge shifts slightly, and everybody rocks like that.
Lula just scurries back with her back towards Poppy and just hides for a second. Waits. Oh.
Sometimes,
Okay.
sometimes the Giant King just needs to adjust.
The bridge won't fall, though, right?
Well, if he goes back on his promise, apparently there will be some retribution at hand.
Okay.
But
if it's been standing this long and everyone's content to make the market on it, then it seems like it should be fine, Luna.
Good. And she takes out her lute and closes the book, having finished. The day is like number crunching, and just starts playing a tune. I play a tune that reminds you of home, and starts playing like single like notes, very specific notes on the lute that are like slow, and like the entire note like fades out before the next one plays, and just starts playing that.
Sio starts to play on the ocarina a little bit and tries to follow along with the tune that Luna's playing, and sort of gradually adds in more notes and seems to sway a little bit, and almost seems to be swaying and trying to keep a little bit of a rhythm of like how the bridge moved, almost like they're trying to dance with the Titan without really dancing with the Titan. And after a little bit of that, sort of gets up but slowly and offers a hand to Hyacinth. Says, "Would you dance with me?"
And it opens its eyes for a bit, coming like a bit more awareness to the scene, and of course, like they take take their wing and dance with them.
They do sort of a slow dance that like sways almost with the breeze and just sort of what's that one? And it almost feels like they sort of like when they brush their feet across the ground, because they're not really picking up their feet like they normally do. They're brushing their feet across the ground and dancing with the broken and crumbling to remind it what it was and could be. And thinking about the grandeur of the place they're in, thinking about just the way that this is, and look out across the canyon and see almost this moment of the stars above and the moon hanging above the canyon, and the way that it almost looks like stars fading down the canyon as you start to, like, you look down and you can see the faint hints of the little spirit, the little forgotten gods moving around down there, and looks up and goes, "Oh, I see it now. It's, do you see?" And points up. "It's the way that the cosmos reflects down into our world and down into where these forgotten gods are. That must be why they're also here. I mean, the Titan, of course, but it makes sense that they would congregate somewhere where they look up and see themselves like a mirror. They must not get that anywhere else." I would like to take a token for describing a grandchild.
Yeah, I think as Sio and Hyacinth are dancing, you kind of see Pudding staring off into the distance, and as he hears Lula's music, something kind of clicks where he starts patting around, and he grabs that net that he was trying to catch these wisps in, and this time he just goes and he sits right beside Luna and holds that net right next to where the music would come out, and you kind of almost see these like personification of music notes kind of wisp around, and just very small movements. Pudding kind of lightly guides them into this jar with like two holes, and you see these music notes just kind of dissipate into it, and he puts 2 corks in it, and these notes are swirling, and he starts thinking like, what is home? And these music notes kind of paint very not very vivid scenes, but it kind of just shows maybe a past place of the burrow where he had met Luna, and then 2 weeks prior they were on that lily pad, and then it shows a brief moment of Poppy just landing down and crashing, and he kind of gets that same feeling where Edna was like, "You don't remember if you've been here before?" And that kind of resonates in the back of Pudding's head, and Pudding just realizes that he doesn't remember what home is, but home is also where he's been with the group. And he takes this, and instead of putting it where he normally would put the wares that he would sell, he kind of takes a moment and just puts it into his backpack instead, and kind of leans back to back against Luna as they keep playing.
Luna leans into you like as you're leaning in to her, and she doesn't stop playing, but one of the things she can always do is ask, "Can I tell you about my home?" Just quietly.
Yeah, and Pudding just kind of nods and closes his eyes.
You get a token if you say yes, and Lula just starts like chatting on about one of the streets that has one of the many markets, and how it's lit up by like a parade of fireflies that move through, and you move along with the fireflies just from stand to stand in this procession. And she's playing along as she talks about this, sensing Pudding's feelings about home and just starts building a clearer and clearer picture of the home she remembers.
The more that Luna talks about home, the more that Sio starts to slow down in like their movements until they sort of gradually come to a stop. As like you kind of notice that like they were starting to shift into a different dance and then just stopped and like sit themselves down again, just thinking and nodding along as Lula's talking. Every now and again, sort of, oh, that's right. I remember that. I lived there, near there. I used to go there when I was a child. Oh.
There was a holiday that was marked by one of the full moons and the procession of fireflies, instead of going just through the one nightlight marketplace, it would go through the whole city, and everyone would have little stands and shops with their crafts. I don't know if you went to that one, but you move through the city on the parade of fireflies, and you pick out different stalls, and people would be outside their houses with small trinkets to give away, and you would move through the whole city through the night, and everyone would be sleepy the next morning.
And that's when I first learned to dance. It's why I dance still.
Hearing all this talk of home, Farley is going to stand, and I'm going to go for a walk and clear my head. And Wool trails off after as they continue walking down towards the far end of the bridge.
Just before Farley actually like walks all the way off, Sio like extends their wing to like touch Farley's wing. And I'm going to spend a token to ease someone's pain, if only for a moment, and just gives that sort of knowing glance of like that just moment of communicating. I know, I miss it too.
Oh, what's Hyacinth doing right now?
Hyacinth, now that they're seated, I love the pun here. It's in his head. He is like taking attendance and just murmuring and checking in on all of his friends settled in his antlers. Tiny conversations, mostly murmuring and just the little noises that these colorful wisps make in this form.
Did they sound like? Does it sound like Animalese from Animal Crossing?
It does now. Love that. But upon noticing like Farley's departure, would you care for company, or you? I understand if you need a moment to yourself.
I would love some company. And do you need a hand up?
I think I might have it, and it's awkward the way they try like wobble. They wanted to be like a little independent, but they're failing.
And Farley will offer the hand, and if Hyacinth accepts, I will take a token for that.
It's yours.
Amazing. And there's a moment where Hyacinth and Farley are walking along the bridge that Wool begins to sort of swirl between them, and so does the small many-faced god that begins to it seems to shift through the color spectrum, and it joins some of Hyacinth's gods as they walk along the bridge.
The bridge itself with all the stalls put away and cleaned up for the night, looks longer and broader, and really the expanse of actually how wide and how long this bridge is becomes clear as it's less crowded. And you can see all the way to the other side, and just above, almost in line, one of the moons. It's almost full. And you two walk along.
Oh, I've never quite seen the moon from this angle before.
Something about this just feels very lonely.
It does, doesn't it?
And not exactly a somber way, just it is.
Well, this is the longest that I've ever been away from the barrow, you see, and hearing stories about home is always difficult, as you well know of our situation. Thank you for coming in.
As much has been shared with me. Oh, of course, of course.
I'm offering a chance to connect with Farley on a personal level. It was beautiful.
Was I of course I don't want to be mean or too bold, but was that painful just now?
It was a touch.
I understand. I just didn't want you to be as alone as this bridge, I suppose.
It is different. It's quite empty.
Yes, and I think it was meant to be.
I think so too. But I like the way that people can fill empty spaces and make them more than they are. Farley at this point is going to hop to one of the bridge ledges and begin to hoot off into the night. The echo begins to fill the canyon around them.
Mm-hmm. And Hyacinth just leans on the ledge, kind of contemplating, just slowing down a bit, and stops. Can you hear that?
And Farley will strain to try and hear it as well.
And what they hear is, of course, the hooting, but not theirs. Like a response. And I'm taking a token because you said yes to can you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Is that another owl? And Farley will hoot louder.
Or someone is playing a very mean trick.
Ooh.
And as you two hoot into the night, we cut back briefly to Poppy's stand, and Luna has sort of stopped playing and turns to Pudding, and still kind of leaning on him, and is like, What were the gods like that you saw under the bridge?
They were bright, they were confident, and they all felt whole. They felt as if not even a shifting titan could force them to change who they were. They were comfortable with that shake, comfortable with not having to have every single color in the spectrum. They just were.
Do you think they were always beneath the bridge, or do you think this is not their home?
I have a feeling if they live here, they could live other places.
Sio starts to like when Luna like asks like, do you think this was always their home? Sio starts to like tense a little bit and is having a little bit of a memory and like looks up and seems like they're counting something as though trying to figure out how long until the sunrise, as memories start to like wash over them, and then they immediately avert their eyes back down to the ground as though looking up has made something click.
Pudding
Yeah, go ahead.
Pudding sees this, almost feels the eyes of Sio look up, and in a moment of overwhelm and then back down, kind of motions over and kind of just lies down next to them and looks up and was like, what were you scared of seeing?
It's there was a time once where I think I learned some things I was not supposed to know, and well, Hyacinth and I feel like a little bit our friendship has been strained since the last time I saw the sunrise. There's these forgotten gods. They're forgotten for a reason. And not to say that they should have been, but sometimes I wonder if that's just what happens to us after no one remembers us anymore. And I've looked down from up there before, and I don't like what I saw. And I don't want them to be forgotten the way that they are, and I know that I can't help them. And I feel like I couldn't help anyone. The barrow where we came from, this place, it reminds me of home, and I'm not sure why, except just that, well, I feel like these forgotten gods I feel kinship with them a bit because I don't think this was their home, but they've made it their home and they're confident in it. And they just want to know what that feels like. And I here with you, all of you, this is the most I've felt like I did when I lived, back when I haven't been the same person since then, and I think it scares me to get close to that feeling again. Because I don't want to forget. I don't want to it hurts when I remember, and I feel that if I forget, I'll have to remember again harder than before. I wonder if they feel that way too.
I think Pudding reaches over and just syncs up his breathing with Co and tries to show Co the jar of red wax. And the more that Pudding is shaking the jar, the more it kind of flows and recedes, kind of with our breathing. And Pudding realizes at this point that although Co feels as if they don't feel confident in this moment, without speaking, he wanted to show Co that the confidence, the way that they were dancing and the way that they were a mentor to this small duckling is a way for stories not to be forgotten and is a way for dreams to be carried on, and that confidence and evoking that type of love around where we've been traveling is a sense of home, whether or not it's a static place. And this are of red wax and dirt, and just slides it over to Co, and just lets them know, looks them in the eye and say, our stories might not be told all over the world, but they are told to the ones that we meet. And that's what we can control right now.
Co takes the jar and looks at Pudding and just for a moment just wraps their wings around him and just holds for a minute before pulling one of the coins off of their necklace and just close up to their face, and there's tears, and they take the coin and wipe up one of the tears and puts it in the jar with the wax and the wonderful magic, and has this moment of clearly trying to compose himself, and looks between Pudding and Luna and says, "Thank you." I've regardless of where I've been before, I know that now I'm where I'm supposed to be. This is my home. Wherever all of us are is my home. And like looks at Luna and offers the jar.
When you turn to Luna, you see that she is fast asleep. And you see that some of the intricate tattoos, specifically the ones closer to the scar, are glowing a very faint green. And that, I think, is where we're going to leave this session this evening. Thank you all so much for playing. And thank you all for stopping by and watching A Wayfarer's Guide to Haeth.
That was so good. We're gonna go ahead and do our outros. So everybody go around, tell us who you are, tell us where we can find you, and we'll start with Paula.
Okay, hi, I'm Paula. I am on Twitter at Art and Audio. Find me there, please. I am doing some streams upcoming. One of them just got announced next Friday, so I'll be playing Call of Cthulhu for the first time. Check that out. And keep an eye out because there are other things that I can't say yet and that I'm really excited about. But this I am also really excited about.
Heck yeah. Next up, Danny.
Hey, y'all, my name is Danny. My pronouns are he, him, and you can find me all over the internet at Brutal Dan. That's BR00TALDAN. I'm the community manager for Roll20, and I'm also the community director for Free RPG Day. And yeah, I just really love telling stories and connecting with those who tell stories as well. So, yeah, this was unlike any game I've played, and I love it, and I can't wait to explore.
This is so soft, and my heart is full.
Same.
Next up, Cosmo.
Hi, I'm Cosmo, and I'm very good emotional. My pronouns are Faitham. You can find me over on Twitter as at Maelstrom Minded, and on Twitch as the Maelstrom Mind, because I don't check things before I change them, so I didn't match them up. I mostly stream games on Twitch and talk about a whole lot of things, but I'm really excited to be doing this. This is some of the most fun I've had on playing a tabletop game. Echoing Danny, like, this is unlike anything I've ever played. And if you get a chance to play Wanderhome or play in a game that Paula is doing, or that Anita is helping with, or with either of these two, like, just yes. Yes.
Amazing. Next up, Vin.
Hi guys, I'm Vin at VinVoxVA on Twitter, and I swear this card is going to be worn by the end of this. My goodness. So I'm in a couple things. Check out my Twitter for any announcements and such. I do want to say I recently became an ambassador for Game Tea, so it's time for me to get a little commercial. Thank you. If you go to gamet.co.uk and use the code all caps VinVoxVA, you get 5% off your purchase, and I get a little something. So check that out. That is going to be gamet.co.uk.
Heck yeah. And I'm Anita. I'm the channel runner for Critical Misses. You can find me here most times, either in front of the camera or behind the scenes running tech. We've got some shows coming up. We've got our Good Society game, Queer Society, coming back for a second season. They'll be starting up next week. We just have to do a quick little cheeky little prequel episode before that to sort of set them up for that. And then this Friday, we are coming back with my Star Trek Adventures game that I GM that is called The Lost Frontier. So you get to see exactly what the crew of the USS Solstice is up to after that cliffhanger of an ending for the last season. And I also host a TTRPG talk show called Morning Ritual here. That is every Saturday with my wonderful co-host, the Noir Enigma. And we don't have a guest this week because I have some alternate obligations that I've got to get to. Some life stuff is happening. But yeah, that is me. We're going to go on a raid. Who are our friends that are online that we can go send some love to? I think our friends over at TPK Roleplayer Online, we can go say hi to them and show them a little bit of love. But yeah, that has been our show, everyone. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and until next time, stay on the path, stay off the path. Bye, everybody.